Hello and welcome to this Superliminal Films, Superliminal Games MTG Arena video. I'm Dan. Most of you probably know that already, but if you don't, I'm Dan. And what are we going to be doing today? We're going to be taking you through a constructed event that is a best-of-1 constructed event, playing a little deck that I found on Reddit that top-aided a Mythic Championship qualifier at face-to-face games in Toronto this past weekend. Playing it because of two reasons. One, it has one of my favorite cards of the last couple of years, Adeliz the Cinderwind, in it. And two, it is a very budget alternative to the quite expensive, even to build on Arena, Phoenix decks that run very similarly. This one is wizard themed with Burning Prophet, Dreadhorde Arcanist, and Adeliz all triggering the wizard nonsense. Draws some cards, deals a lot of damage very quickly, has the explosive potential to do stuff. Kasmina also makes wizards, so if you get a Kasmina down, Adeliz, Burning Prophet, Dreadhorde Arcanist, you can really start getting the wizard stuff going. Also, every now and again, you can just God Eternal Kefnet them. I'll be perfectly honest, I've played exactly one game with this deck prior to now, and I did win. I did beat a Phoenix deck, so we'll see. Also, to peel back the curtain a little bit, normally when I do one of these videos, I might play several iterations of the event to get an example of what the deck can do in a good light. I want to be able to show when I'm showcasing the deck that I didn't just have crap draws the whole time or stuff like that. This time, instead, I'm just going to run this deck until it gets either the full wins or 3 losses, because I want to know what this deck can do, so I'm going to put it through its paces. This seems actively bad, but it has card draw, it has spell pierce, but it has no red. So I'm going to mulligan this on the play. This is even worse, but this deck really operates on velocity, so I'm really hesitant to go down another card. If we were doing the London mulligan, I'd be a lot more open to going down another card here so that I could have better selection. But the fact that I have 2 shocks here, which can burn out a lot of small things, and a lava coil and a lightning strike, I think I'm going to keep this, even though it's probably not. Well, there's land on top, so there we go. Feels awkward to do those in that sequence, but Sulfur Falls, then Mountain. Hello, opponent. Has also played a Mountain and is playing a Get-To Lava Runner. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and shock that out of the way before it can do anything too terribly nonsense to us, because I'd rather kill it than have to deal with it. Opponent is playing some very anime sleeves. I mean, that's cool. They've given us these options, so I'm still playing the traditional Magic back, but I'm kind of a purist, a realist, and an old person. So I'll play my old person Magic. Alright, Steamkin. Also going to shock that. Again, I know I said earlier this deck kind of relies on velocity, but also beating the mono red opponent relies on removing the stuff that can give them card advantage. So there's another Steamkin. Here's a lightning strike. There's going to come a point at which we just do what we need to do. We're both stuck on land, but I think our long game is a bit better than theirs because we have blue, because we have opt, because we have Adeliz. So I'm going to run this Adeliz probably into a burn spell, because I imagine they're holding one. But if they're not, and I can get some Adeliz action going, that'll feel pretty good. I'd love to have a sorcery in my graveyard right now, because that could really allow me to jam Finale of Promise for full value, and Finale of Promise with Adeliz is insane. But I'll just take dugging our opponent for 2 or attacking in for 2, which again is probably going to get, Adeliz shocked right out of the way. Next blue mana, we get this Kefnet online, and Kefnet becomes really difficult for our opponent to remove. I'm going to go ahead and opt right away here, because if we get shock, will do. Would have preferred a blue land, but I'll take the shock out this Lava Runner, and just keep our opponent's threats off the board. Especially while they're stuck for mana, we want to be able to keep them from dealing damage to us so they can't do card advantage things with light up the stage and all sorts of shenanigans like that. Not really the best showing from either deck here, but this is what happens when you get stuck on 3 and 2 respectively. Alright, chart a course, that's something. Now if we get to 4 mana, we can at least chart this Finale of Promise. So ideally, again, we'd like to see blue land. Gonna ditch the Spell Pierce because, again, I don't have the mana for it right now, and velocity is going to be important. You want to be pushing through damage against this opponent instead of holding back to counter their stuff. So opponent also doing an intelligent thing. Opponent at this point has kind of seen our game, so let's chart a course again. We have 16 land left in our deck, so you'd think at some point we're going to see one of them, I hope. Still no. I'm going to go ahead and ditch this Crash Through, because we can again get it with the Finale of Promise. Now we're in a world where we have a 1-drop sorcery and a 1-drop instant in our graveyard that we want to cast with Finale of Promise for 3 mana, so if we can set up a world where we get this Burning Prophet down, our opponents found their 3rd land, we can get this Burning Prophet down, and then Finale of Promise, and really get to going. Alright, there's Chain Whirler. We do draw another land, but it is tapped. The one single solitary guaranteed to be tapped land in the deck. I'm going to go ahead and tag this Chain Whirler down, again to preserve ourselves from getting dealt damage, and also because we have a God Eternal Kefnet next turn that is really going to start shoring things up. Once we get the Kefnet down, then we can put the Burning Prophet down, start getting Finale of Promise nonsense going, and really start, hopefully, dealing some damage, gaining some of this velocity. We're moving very slowly so far, so I'd like to be able to see us go a little bit faster. Opponent getting frustrated and just throwing some burn spells at our face so they can do light up the stage. Shenanigans, well, they didn't hit great off the light up the stage. That feels pretty good. This does enable Spectacle for them for the next couple of turns, which is annoying, but we have a Kefnet now that's going to hopefully either act as just a great source of blocking for us, or just chunk them down in a couple of turns, especially through our double Finales of Promise, Burning Prophet. That's a lot of card advantage. Alright, so we're going to get Spectacled again. Probably. Yep, there's the second light up the stage, which gets them land Lightning Strike. So they're not currently showing enough damage to get Kefnet off the board for this turn, or this series of turns. If they do manage to get that, obviously with Burning Prophet, we can Burning Prophet, Finale Promise, do some stuff. Alright, so there's some more damage to our face, so I think they're not going down the Kefnet route. There's the Fanatical Firebrand, okay. So we're definitely not... We've drawn another land, we're not going to reveal it. Play it anyway. We're going to cast this Burning Prophet. We're just going to pass the turn to set up... Well, actually... in Lava Coil and Shock, get both of these creatures off the board, take one of the fits. I think I'm actually going to go for that route because we have the backup Fnatic. Let's just Shock and chart a course. Get some bonus card drawing action, and the Scry off Burning Prophet puts us yet another card potentially deeper. I'm actually going to bin this Burning Prophet, because we need Adelise, we need Dreadhorde Arcanist, we need the ability to start churning through our graveyard and stuff. So we'll cast the chart, we'll cast the shock, we'll shock the Pyromancer, get a ton more triggers on Burning Prophet. It's going to be really great. Like, if our opponent tries to run out, okay, Wizard's Lightning the Dome. We'll leave Shock on top because we can cast it twice next turn. Actually cast it 3 times next turn. Again, we'll still leave Shock on top. Get that out of there. So opponent is showing 3 damage. Discard the Sulfur. Don't need. So opponent is showing 4 damage here. Having 5 more in their hand is not beyond the realm of possibility, but we do have a blocker they'd have to burn out, and we have to deal damage to them at some point, so Kefnet, get in. So next turn we get to Shock. Okay, Experimental Frenzy. So, again, opponent's still representing 4 damage, but the potential for having 5 more is pretty high. That 3 went to the face, that just taps them out. That says to me they don't have anything good at the top. We are going to reveal Crash Through, cast it with Kefnet. We're going to try to 16. Scry anything that isn't a cheap burn spell to the bottom. On a land, even though there was a land on top. Play that land as our land for turn. We cast Crash Through again. This is where, like, having an Adelies in play this turn, this game would pretty much already be over. Leave the opt on top because it allows us to cast yet another spell this turn and puts yet another spell in our graveyard that if Dreadhorde, Dreadhorde Arcanist or something like that, we get to go a full and heavy nonsense once more. So let's cast another spell this turn. There's the Dreadhorde Arcanist. We'll pick that up. And I'm actually going to slow down on spells cast here and work on getting our opponent dead and hope they can. I mean, here's the thing. We either kill them this turn or they heal 6 points of damage off the top of the library. I've played a lot of mono red in the last couple months. It's very possible, nay likely, that they manage to rip that many points of burn right off the top of their library. They're going to probably Firebrand our face here, but this pushes us in more damage on theirs. We'll leave the Chart of Course on top. We'll draw that next turn and start off with it. Bash them down to 7. And here's the trick. They get us this turn or we get them next turn. Okay, so they had a land on top. They had a light up the stage. They're going to be able to cast that light up the stage. There's your Vicina Pyromancer, puts us down to 3. If they have a 3 damage burn spell on top or a single mana 3 damage burn spell comes off of that, which gives them a shock, which will not be good enough. So they can shock our face, put us to 1, and then on our turn we cast the Chart of Course, we cast the Finale, and do more than 7 to them by the time the dust is settled. We'll kill Chart of Course and start this chain of casting multiple spells, scrying all the things. Opponent has seen enough, and they're going to concede. We had it with the Finale of Promise in hand, and the Chart of Course was probably overkill, but it was fun. So that was kind of neat. We were definitely on the ropes there. Had they found a slightly better top of their library on that last turn, we were probably in for it. Which is definitely something I've done as the blue player in that, or the red player in that matchup. I have just won out of just here's 4 burn spells on the top of my library, and here's the mana to cast them. All right, we're on the play. We have the Highland Lake, which is the only turn you want the Highland Lakes, turn 1 on the play. We've got the Chart of Course. We've got a Spell Pierce if we need it, a Crash Through and a Shock. All we need to do is find some creatures and start this train a-rolling. Our opponent Travi Trav here low. Okay, they've played a tap Stomping Ground. I'm gonna play a tap Steam Vent. Their Gruul, their turn 2 play is not going to be anything but a creature, but it's a shockable creature, so we're going to do that at the end of turn so it doesn't grow and find friends. Earthchamber Guardian being able to find friends is kind of disgusting. I'm going to go ahead and cast Chart of Course, leaving both lands in our hand and discard something spicy. Discard a mountain, play a mountain. Now we have Adelies mana. Should we draw her? Them? Her? Probably a her. Okay, they found another Growth Chamber Guardian anyway. Now we have decisions and options. Going to bottom this land. Things that aren't land. Run a Dreadhorde Arcanist. Good. Cast this Dreadhorde Arcanist. Getting to cast multiple spells off of things like Dreadhorde Arcanist triggers, God Eternal Kefnet triggers, all of these are really cool stacking. It was the kind of thing when I really mad I tapped out. Spell Pierce and that Domri would be quite something. Lightning strikes down the Arcanist. Okay, well, I mean, this is a real deck that we're playing against, and it's a deck we have to figure out how to play against. So, I cast Burning Prophet and nothing else, and we're gonna hope that eventuality of potentially getting card advantage is gonna win us here. Because the thing is, other than doing this with a Growth Chamber Guardian, our opponent isn't drawing cards. So, the fact that we are going to be drawing more cards than them has power. But our stuff getting fought down is also gonna not go very well. So what we need here is need to probably five. We need to opt, and we need to hope for one of our 3 Lava Coil. Growth Chamber Guardian coming down. We're gonna opt. Hope we get a Lava Coil. Dreadhorde Arcanist, you're probably not going to be good enough. Sadly, I think this train may have already left the station, but we shock that Growth Chamber Guardian out of the way. Big. And have the ability. Got one more land. We could Finale of Promise, Chart a Course, and a Shock. Or we could. It doesn't do anything, so we'll pass it up. Might have been right there to cash in a Crash Through for a card draw, but I just don't know. And this is what comes with having played this deck exactly once. Last game it kind of played itself and it made a little bit of sense, but this game it's something else entirely. So we'll take our lump again, and if we can't find anything off of this opt, it's probably time to ship it away and give it back to them. So this opt again, Burning Prophet, you're not going to do it. And we draw God Eternal Kefnet and a Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike, you're not going to do it. So it was a stumble from us and a half-decent curve out from our opponent. Quite the opposite of the game that we had the first go. So we'll try it again. Keep pushing the button, especially when you play interesting decks. Gotta just keep pushing the button. So play against Bacon Bits here. We go Steam Vents into Sulphur Falls with a pretty stacked hand for card draw, but not for much else. Again, we're low on creatures. And look, the fact of the matter is, the deck has 12 main deck creatures, plus 2 Casmina that makes creatures. We haven't seen a Casmina yet. So it can be tough. But we're on the draw. See what our opponent's doing. I'm going to play the Steam Vents in, paying 2 life, because if they're green, like, we might get completely gulted, but if we can control their ramp, Thorn Lieutenant, what I suspected. So we've probably got some sort of Elvish Menace coming here. Finale of Promise, you are good, but I need more mana, and I need to not be getting stuck on land. Okay, we've drawn an island, and we've drawn a Burning Prophet. I'm going to go ahead and play this Dreadhorde Arcanist. Because Dreadhorde Arcanist can at least opt again. Okay, we've a Steam Vents again. So we're going to enter tap the Steam Vents. We're going to Burning Prophet. Opponent seems stuck on mana, so I'm not gonna poke the bear yet. I can start doing some pretty good things with things like Crash Through. Okay, they had a Jade Light Ranger. They're gonna show a Llanowar Elf right into the bin, a Primordial Worm. So they're just green beats. Another Burning Prophet here. So I'm going to start with a Chart a Course. Card advantage. There's a Casmina, but again, we need mana. Yeah, we need mana. On another Chart a Course and the Spell Pierce. Go ahead and bin the Spell Pierce. Isn't much they'll be doing with that. Cast Crash Through to draw a card. There's a shock. Hopefully something. See what we get. Let's jam into the attack here. They're opt casting it. Getting the scrying this shock into our hand. Scrying the shock into our hand, that's kind of backwards. You get a good card, you get a good card. See how our opponent is block. Just going to block there. We shock out the Jade Light Ranger. Mountain will play because at worst we can chart a course, discard it next turn, and jam our opponent for 5. So the Dreadhorde Arcanist got a little bit of value there. Also wasn't great, but I can see... Oh, Nullhide Ferox. Okay, well, Nullhide Ferox going away. Opponent desperately looking for a land. Meanwhile, we're getting land. We will cast another Burning Prophet. And from here, I'm actually going to sit on it. Because opponent is definitely, well, was definitely stuck for land. So, nothing. We're going to shock out this Branch Walker. Get some double scry action. See a shock on top. See a shock on top. Turn. So I'm gonna go and start just punching our opponent very hard. You can go away. You can go away. You can go away. We're gonna chart a course anyway. Let's go ahead and we will chart a course. Scries, we'll leave Adeliz on top. Adeliz on top. Draw Adeliz and a mountain. Guard the mountain. Do that again. Dreadhorde Arcanist bottom now. Kasmina can go to the bottom now. We finally saw Kasmina this game, but it didn't do much. Discard a card now. Going to go ahead and discard this Lava Coil. Attack our opponent. 8. Because we didn't crash through, none of it has trample, but we're going to get rid of their Thorn Lieutenant, which keeps them that much further away from things called Ghalta. So next turn, we can cast Adeliz and a Lightning Strike, which is pretty powerful. We have a Lightning Strike. Adeliz, we can also cast a Shock and a Crash Through, which is more do. Shock our opponent's face. Keep this Lava Coil here in case we need it. Lava Coil here in case we need it. And opponent has conceded. The almighty power of Adeliz, Burning Prophet, and them not drawing any lands. Having more mana than your mono green opponent is pretty good. Locked in ICR, we've got to declare dominance. That's monkey. Alright, let's keep playing. 2-1. So, there's a point at which the relentless value train that is this deck just takes off. And that game was kind of an example of what do we got here? This is an absolute mulligan, not even close. On the play, 1 land, some blue spells, nothing to do, and 2 Finale of Promise. So, heck, this is funny. 5. I mean, we got to keep this. Bottoming that, sadly. Low opponent. I mean, 19 lands, sometimes you're going to have runs like this, but yikes. Yikes. Okay, and we're against mono red. Hopefully, we can dig ourselves out. We didn't. This is not looking good for us, folks. Things are not looking good for our heroes. Opponent's going to cast via Pyromancer. Hit us for 2, then attack us for 1. And if we don't draw a red mana source, we are going to be pretty much up against. There's a red mana source. That'll start us off. Let's shock out this Pyromancer. We're mana off of Adeliz, and we're mana off of really getting things going. They play anything big and threatening, which potential. Lava Coil it. On deck. I have faith in you. Mono red is tough, but not impossible. And you just have to Lava Coil that to preserve our life total, because 13 is not exactly what I would call high against mono red. Again, having played a lot of mono red, it has the burst potential to just knock an opponent straight in the teeth. So we didn't draw a land, we drew another Lava Coil, so we'll use surplus Lava Coil to get rid of the Pyromancer, and hope that they continue to also stumble on mana. Stumbling on mana has been the tale of the 4 games that we have played so far. It's just about who's doing it worse than the other person. I hope it continues our opponent. Just going with lightning striking our face because they're stuck on mana. Then there is the mono red deck, and the problem is it's a pretty good position to just have these 2 mana 3 damage burn spells. So we have a shock. As much as I don't like doing this, it that damage again. Serves them doing anything with light up the stage, draw cards. Okay, they did have a land. Got opponent. What do you got for us? What do you got that I can't answer now? Another lightning strike to the face. I mean, we're 2 well-placed burn spells away from this game going very poorly for us. We're 2 well-placed burn spells, and we've still not seen a land. We gotta dig for a land. The fact is, the opponent probably has exactly what they need to destroy us in their hand, but we have to keep playing. So, I have to assume maybe they have 4 cards they don't want to cast right. Maybe they're all land. Maybe they're a sandbag. Bluffing. Maybe they're trying to put together a picture of what they... Or, okay. I mean, we're doing the thing, right? Doing the thing we asked the deck to do. We're at 1. Whatever the opponent's got, I'm sure is good enough. I don't think I've ever won from 1 against a red deck with cards in there. Chain Whirler. A classy way to end. Okay. Alright, well, 2-2. Not a great showing, but boy, has our mana not been working out for us. Like, in no even close way has our mana been working. So, fingers crossed. End of the deciding game. But this is what I set out to do, right? I set out to take a look at whether this deck was something or nothing. Another 1-land hand, then it's Sulphur Falls. We're on the draw with Trip Burning Prophet. Man, we're beating variants in the face today. I like this hand. If this like Crash Through was a land, I'd be down to try this hand. But we have a 4-drop and a 3-drop. We have 3 2-drops, all of which scry, or potentially scry, which is very appealing. But I just don't think we can. Opponent also clearly agonizing over their mulligan. Made it. Also join you in the mulliganing opponent. This hand is much better. Has blue, has red, has opt, spell, pierce, and shock. Get to see what our opponent does. I'm going to leave this one on top because we have the Kefnet in hand. I want to get to that 4th land. Now, having said that, I'm sure we will completely let out. Opponent has led Tranquil Expanse. We can opt if we want to. We can spell pierce if we need to. Probably not going to need to against this opponent at all. So, opt on end step. Bottoming. Well, no, that mountain's enough to cast Kefnet. Let's get lame with it. I'm going to go ahead and shock out this Greenwood Sentinel just because that's how I'm feeling. Maybe they're playing some sort of pants deck and I should have waited. I don't know. I haven't seen someone go, okay, this is Green White Little Kid deck probably, and we just continue to draw lands because I kept them on top. So hopefully we can just cast this Kefnet and get it over and done with. But until then, we shall see. All right. Daybreak Chaplain, that is fine. Opponent. Want to draw, gain some life. I mean, do I even care? I guess I don't. Nah, you can go ahead, opponent. We're playing a Kefnet this turn. And next turn, playing a Kazmina. We're doing stuff. Opponent has played nothing in higher rarity than common, and no cards from outside of M19. Enchanter, still okay. That's an uncommon at least, but Now we know what they're trying to do. They're trying to build some sort of pants. Tapped there. I'm actually going to break out this Satyr and Kefnet back. I can play a slow game while they run resources out of their hand and we back into ours. Tapped out for a prodigious growth, and I am sorry about. Yep, that spell pierce. Uh, I'll decline the shock. We'll start making Kasmina stuff. It's nice that this is a loot and not a rummage. This card maximize velocity. Now I feel better about being able to attack with Kefnet. Bonk. Turn. Okay, drew horns. Okay, opponent. Block you. We'll shock out the Daybreak Chapter. Give us the option to kill. Find a reveal island. Activate Kasmina. Draw a Steam Vents, which we will card there. Am with Kefnet again. Kefnet runs pretty much faster than what they're trying to do. We can definitely draw a card at some point. Again, I would love to see one of our 3 Adelies. I feel like they've been grossly underrepresented this event. Opponent working to gain a life here. Double block and let them gain that life, but take away their creature that they want to try to put enchantments on. We've drawn the Adelies in question. Feel. Cast it. Cast Crash Through. Of the trigger. Maximize velocity. Targeting there. Discarding the useless Spell Pierce. Jam to a conceding opponent. And, I mean, that's kind of how we drew it up. Exactly the kind of stuff we wanted to do with this deck. We did it. Alright, 3-2. Still playing Magic. Still got Magic to play. It's just that, I mean, look at everything we got out of that. +2/+2 to 3 different creatures, so 6 additional power. Adelie is a real Magic card. We got another one, and we've got, alright, this might be the best hand we've seen yet. I think I said the last game, but I think it's still true. See what this one Derny boy can do. Okay, a mountain. Nothing, so we will opt at end of turn because we want to start getting. I feel like I need Burning Prophet. We draw the Highland Lake. I'm actually going to go ahead and play the Highland Lake here. Play Adelies on 3. Our opponent is showing Mountain, so I definitely fear burn spells, but Mountain Island, I fear burn spells a little bit less. Electric it's fine. We go ahead and Profit. End of turn, I think I'm going to opt. No. Hold on to opt. Okay, Saheeli, that's dangerous. So need to deal with an awkward series of plays. Adelie's opt back with last thing I want is for our opponent be able to just get us. Taking a bunch of Saheeli tokens. Now, if they want to preserve their Saheeli, they're going to have to give up their Electromancer, which I've played a lot of Phoenix. It's a tough decision to give up your Electromancer. Electromancer represents a ton of value, but so does Saheeli. Hopefully, next turn we can double Lightning Strike and really start pressing the advantage. Or we can Dreadhorde Arcanist and Lightning Strike, because the thing is, Arcanist can get opt 2 turns in a row here, and the free spell with Adeliz giving the pump feels pretty good. Okay, Torment Voice, notably not discarding a Phoenix. That feels good. Shock out the Adeliz. I mean, there was the damage that we kind of knew about. That. Start a course. Notably, still not discarding. Well, look, another Adeliz. So we will play a Dreadhorde Arcanist. Opponent has an opt-in response. That's fine. Definitely appreciate the value of the Kasmina, or well, the value we missed by not having the Kasmina when they were targeting our stuff. We will shock on top because it's something we can cast with that. Two. Alright, so next turn is pretty much spoken for us. It's Adeliz into shock, attack with Arcanist, shock again. Get a whole lot of value out of Adeliz. Crackling Drake, so that's where the shocks are going. Adeliz. Here's shock, hoping they don't have Spell Pierce. 5 down. Lava Coil can ding it. That. Shock. There. Get more pump. Leave the Lava Coil in case they have another Crackling Drake, and we can do that trick again. Down to 6. 3 spells, Adeliz, Scry. We're doing stuff every time we do stuff here. Very nice. So next turn we actually just have them with Lightning Strikes, even if they somehow manage to make a blocker for each of our creatures out, which does not seem likely. So we've got our first Phoenix of the event made its appearance. Scourge of standard, modern, legacy, and I don't know, probably even vintage by now, has made its appearance in this video. Oh, just straight to the concession. Okay, well. So that's what this deck is supposed to do. 6 games in at this point to see that that's how we wanted. That's kind of how we drew it up. Hey, a rare we already had from Ixalan. We don't know what it was, but it's worth 20 gems, so that's cool. All right, 4-2. We're getting there. We're getting there. I've sort of reached the not a shameful finish level of this event in my mind. So anything, once I get to about 4 wins, that's when I consider an event to be not shamefully lost. Profit, we're on the draw, the mana to cast it. Blue mana gets us to some stuff that, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give this a keep, especially with opponent. We're on the draw, we just need to get some blue mana, and then start really sort of card advantage engine a-running. All 6 throws the bottom, shows us stomping. Okay. Well, we have a shock. Now, we'll say, lost to this deck already tonight. We also were on a stumbling mana situation there. Okay. Right. Giving us an island. Got a Burning Prophet, and to hope they don't completely go nuts on us while we have a turn where we're tapped out. Not being able to respond is tough, but having stuff to do when we want to be killing our opponent is what we need. Profit go. What you got, opponent? What are you thinking about? What are you in the tank on? And they're really in the tank for the second turn of the game. Pinchim Extinct Bot, get out of here. Okay, or elf. Play this island. No. Going to attack. See what they have. Play this mountain. Shock their mana source. Bottom this Finale of Promise because we already have one. Play this profit. Next turn we can opt and chart a course to get some real pumps a going. Killed their mana acceleration. Urta Goblin is a magic card here, but the thing is bigger. Crash through, draws us a card, we'll leave it on top. Trample. Discard this Highland Lake because we land. Crash through. Bottom that Burning Prophet. We are going to be left with one Burning Prophet. Shock. Opt. Bottom the Spell Pierce. Keep the Crash through. Draw the Crash. Back for 8. Opponent is definitely in a situation where blocking is profitable for them. They are going to take 5 here. And we are left with 1 creature to their none, 4 mana to their 2. Things they don't know about are Finale of Promise in our hand. Drawn. I'm just going to go ahead and cast this. Gonna shock there. Mana Dork. Gonna leave Opt on top. Again, it's a cheap activator. 2. You don't need to jam for 2. The opponent's been pretty stuck on mana. Getting to deal with 2 of their Llanowar Elves has been nice. Having them continue to be stuck is also pretty nice. Gonna go ahead. We have 2 shocks, and I'm gonna go ahead and Finale for 2. Shock them. Going to start a course. 4 for that. Gonna get a whole bunch of triggers here. Bottom that Darkness. Something like Punch. Cast start a course first. Test the shock. Shock him in the face. Get the Burning Prophet trigger. Bottom the Sulfur Falls. Prophet trigger. Bottom the Spell Pierce. Shock their face. Guard a course. Discard a land. Play this. Play that at their face. Bottom this. Attack. Shock their face. And that would have been 8. So, yeah. I mean, again, we had a mana stumbling opponent, right? We can't really say too terribly much about what the deck did or did not do when our opponent stumbled quite that badly on mana. But we're at 5 wins, so results are results. But I'm also trying to not be results oriented in my Magic, so we definitely did some stuff there. I mean, definitely did some stuff. All right, we've got an Arcanist, we've got some charts, got a Lava Coil, got an Annalise if we get there, we're on the play. Give the Lost Soul here a hello with their Jace sleeves. Pretty good sleeve. Again, kind of content with just playing these, but the fact that they give us these sleeve options. Ah, the opponent. Watery Green. Thing I fear here is having my hand stripped to pieces, because it's kind of hard for us to come back from that. There's the Thought Erasure that I was exactly calling for. So that's probably going to be goodbye Adelies. Nope, a Charter Course. That seems fine, because if we can pump our Dreadhorde Arcanist Adelies, we'll be alright. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to... We're going to jam, we're going to cast Charter Course, and we're going to hope we draw an untapped mana. Do! If we draw an untapped source of blue mana, that would have been a really good play, but hey, opponent also seems to be stumbling on land, and I probably capitalize on that with things like Adelies and Dreadhorde Arcanist and spells. Been to land, probably have a land, tap land, have yet another Dreadhorde Arcanist, put in another one, pass the turn again. Yep, we weren't countering that anyway. Go ahead and get rid of one of the Dreadhorde Arcanists. It's going to go right ahead. Lava Coil that need be. 2. Really just kind of hope we can get another land and start landing Adelies and doing stuff like that, because, well, that's never a good sign. Enter the God Eternals. Mill the land. Mill the maximize card, of course. Opt here. What if maximize velocity of a coil that when we attack? So let's do that. Maximize our velocity. Targeting that. Paying red. Discarding an opt from our hand. Declaring an attack. Cast this lava coil. Lava coil. Get out. 2. So now we have a Spell Pierce if they have another Enter the God Eternals, if they have Planeswalker, Ugin, Spell Pierce, Ugin. Get another Charter Course. Go ahead and attack here. Cast an opt. Bottom Spell Pierce. I'm going to leave the Spell Pierce on top. For 1. Turn. Once again, if they cast a spell, we can Spell Pierce. It's going to feel good, like this. 2 turns in a row, their big game warping Planeswalker has been stopped by a Spell Pierce. Going to actually shock them turn, because creatures that I can shock, and shocking the face feels pretty good. My god, there are 16 lands left in our library. Where are they? Well, I'm going to just attack. I'm going to crash through, draw a card. Oh, well, actually, we'll later draw our Charter Course, which are still not land. Gotta be, yeah, nearly 50% to draw land. Alright. Full Bolus. Discard Casmina, because, yeah, right, we're getting to more mana. Discovery. At least it's not Dispersal. Dispersal is annoying. Opponent's still also struggling for land. Hey, we finally get one. Adelies player, but we're not going to do anything with her. Pass up the turn. We're going to Soot. Probably put this one away. Steam tapped. Arcanist. Hope to make Spell Pierce another big spell if they've got it. Not, again, Bolus. We'll probably put this one away. actually have the mana for it this time. We're going to go ahead and play it just because we have it. Make him pay it, and we'll probably just scoop him. Ain't much else we're doing here. I mean, it destroyed a creature, so... do anything. Chart a course. Nothing. Get rid of the Nicol Bolas, then we're going to have to get land or this Finale of Promise. That'll be at 2. We can get it back with next. Let's try this. They're pretty low on answers. They're cards in hand, at least. We're kind of committing pretty hard here, but in theory, even if we get rid of a land, we can still get rid of this Dragon God. So it's down to kind of what they draw. Yep. All right, well, our Relentless March of Card Advantage got beaten by their Relentless March of Card Advantage, and yeah. So 5-3. So 100 gold profit on the event for me, and some wild cards. Let's see what we get. Got Dragon's Horde, Deathless Ancient, and Invade the City. So that was that. Again, I don't know if that was necessarily the most representative example of what that deck is capable of doing, but it was some games where we definitely did the thing the deck wanted to do, and when it did what it wanted to do, it felt incredible. So if you're looking for an option that's fun and interesting and sort of combo-y without being combo-y, if you like playing Izzet Blitz in Pauper, this deck's fine, and it's pretty cheap. I mean, there's 3 mythics in the deck, and 4 rares, and the rest of the deck is commons and uncommons. Oh, well, I'm sorry, for 12 rares, but you should have all your rare lands by now. So 12 rares, 3 mythics, deck's pretty easy to put together. Could probably substitute some number of these for basic lands and still be fine. This is Dan, signing off, saying bye, everybody.